Alright guys, Rango12 here, and I have finally got my Death of Spider-Man comic reviews back up. On an iMac, you use Safari to the internet and crap. It worked at first and everything, and then for some reason my comics just stopped working. And then yesterday I was just like, oh, what the hell? I downloaded Google Chrome, and it worked. I was so surprised it works on Google Chrome, but it doesn't work on Safari, even though it was working on Safari at one point. But enough of that, we're going to get into issue 158. So let's go to the first page, and we get, the Sinister 5 now, because in the last issue, Norman Osborn killed Dr. Octopus. So we've got Kraven, Norman Osborn, Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, Sandman, and Electro. So here's Tinkerer like, oh, I don't suppose any of you have my money. So we already get the feeling that the Vulture keeps ripping Tinkerer off, taking stuff, and then saying that he'll give him the money, he never does. And Norman Osborn's just not having any of it and turns into the Goblin and basically threatens the Tinkerer. So Tinkerer gets scared, obviously, and then he's giving him a lecture saying how where's the scientist inside that brain of Norman Osborn and everything. So Tinkerer basically gives Adrian Toomes his Vulture costume because it's the only one that fits, and then Kraven finds something that he likes and says he wants to open a tab. So if you guys don't know what a tab is, it's basically like where you take something and then you pay him back later. So obviously Kraven's not going to pay him back, so Tinkerer's kind of mad about that. Then we go over to where Spider-Man last was, on the bridge, and he's still not gotten up, and then he's finally getting up, and he's going on about how that spider that bit him has completely ruined his life, because the spider that bit him is the reason that he's there with a bullet wound, because if he wasn't bit by the spider, he wouldn't be Spider-Man. Now you can see that he's got a lot of blood here and everything, and he's saying that he needs to get himself to a hospital, and how Captain America and all the other superheroes have just left him to die. Now, you never find out why they left him to die, but in the Ultimate Fallout issues 1 to 6, you find out why Captain America and all the superheroes just left him there, bleeding. I haven't read it. I've only read issue 1 of Ultimate Fallout, but he's getting up to go to a hospital, and he's thinking how after he goes to the hospital, everyone will know who he is, because he's got to take his mask off when he goes in there. So he's webbing up his wound, closing everything, and as he's about to go, he sees the Sinister Six fly over. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know that the Goblin could fly. That's the reason why he has a glider, but for some random reasons, just the Goblin can fly in this one. And you get Electro and then Vulture carrying Kraven and Sandman. And as Spider-Man would do, he would take it upon himself, since it's his responsibility, and instead of going to the hospital, he would go to fight them. Now we go over to Iceman and Human Torch, aka Bobby Drake and Johnny Storm. Now, Johnny Storm is the one with the dark hair, because he had to dye his hair to blend in, because they're being Peter's cousin, so that's Human Torch, and the one with the blonde hair is Iceman. They're basically going into the house and talking about how they thought that pretending to be Peter's cousins was good, but then after a while, because they wanted a normal life, they realised that having a normal life is crap. And then they talk about how the girl was complaining that Bobby Drake's hands were cold, and obviously his hands are going to be cold because he's Iceman. So they go into the kitchen and realise that Gwen, Aunt May and Peter aren't there. So they find a note on the phone that says, let's see, get out of the house immediately and call as soon as you get to a safe place. Why isn't your phone on? And Johnny Storm actually says that his phone isn't on because he melts the phone, but I don't see how turning your phone off would stop your phone from melting. So What the hell? Anyway, so they're just saying how they think where they live is a safe place, and that's why they live there, because it is a safe place. So they're on the way out the door, and when they open the door, to their surprise, they see an awesome shot of the Sinister Six. Well, Sinister Five, should I say. Just standing there, you got Sandman, Kraven, Norman Osborn, who is for once actually wearing pants, and you get Electro and Vulture. So we go back to Johnny Storm, who's saying, "Can I help you?" which is kind of weird because there's a floating electric guy, a guy made out of sand, and a guy in a Vulture costume, and Norman Osborn, so why would you be saying, "Can I help you?" if you know that they're supervillains? So Kraven knows that that's not him because Kraven's got like an extra sensitive smell, and Norman Osborn knows it's not him as well. And then they're demanding Peter Parker to get out of the house even though he's not in the house. And Johnny Storm recognises that it's Norman Osborn, and Norman Osborn is kind of getting a bit angry and going to turn into the Green Goblin. Then Johnny Storm turns into the Human Torch, which is kind of weird because he doesn't say flame on, so I thought he had to say flame on to turn into Finger. But Human Torch is kind of stupid in a way because the Goblin is basically can control fire. So fire and fire is kind of a no-no. He's obviously going to get beat. Well, actually, he's beating Norman Osborn. And then you get the Sandman, that comes in, and the Human Torch actually like makes a joke saying, "What are you gonna do? Make my underpants itchy?" But everybody knows that sand puts out fire, so if I was a Human Torch, I would just get the hell out of there as fast as I could. But he's obviously not smart enough to do that. And then we get Iceman and Electro, which both of them look very similar to each other. And another thing, Iceman is just as bad as the Human Torch because... Oh, here we go. Johnny Storm is about to say flame, and then Sandman just turns around and crushes him again. But then you get Iceman fighting Electro, and ice is basically frozen water, isn't it? Well, it is frozen water. And he's fighting someone who is made out of electricity, and ice and water conduct electricity, so Iceman's doomed basically to electricity. And then you get the neighbours that are seeing how there's superpowered freaks outside fighting in the street, and Iceman gets flung through their window. Then we go over to Goblin, who is knocked out and out for the count and all that, so he'll be out for a while. And then they're shouting the kid out of the house. Well, not the kid, Spider-Man. They call him the kid, Peter Parker. So they actually think that he's in the house. And then Kraven can smell something, so he says, "Wait." And he turns, and then you just get this awesome, like, shot. Spider-Man just stood there. And then Vulture's kind of angry at him because he says that he ruined his life. And then he just gets some web in his eyes. And he gets flung away. And then they're just staring like, whoa. And then we go to Peter and he's like, "Who's next?" But he's got a bullet wound, so he's like sweating and everything. I don't know why he's got his mask off though, because he had his mask on earlier. So that's kind of weird. And then to be continued. So I know it's been a while since I've done these comic reviews, but I'm finally back. So after I've finished the Death of Spider-Man, I will be doing other comic reviews on other things, you know, like what's it called? Ultimate Comic Spider-Man, like with Miles Morales and all that. So yeah, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and watch out for the next video of the comic reviews.